police.
Interrogation raw. These are the most viewed moments.
When the New Falls Police Department arrived on scene, they did not notice any signs of forced entry. Everything looked okay, and they eventually contacted Carl's parents, and they made entry to the house. We found Carl located at the bottom of the stairway, covered in a tarp and a comforter, with gunshot wounds.
How I found out was my oldest brother called me.
From looking at the condition of the body, the estimate was he had been dead 2 or 3 days.
We discovered he had 3 gunshot wounds, 2 to the torso and 1 to the head. And the gunshot wound sustained to Carl's head was at close range. It was obvious signs of fault play, instantly apparent.
Doing stitches on wound.
We were told that Claudia was originally from Brazil. That in the late 90s, she moved to the U.S., became a naturalized U.S. citizen.
Carl met Claudia through Match.com, and he dated her for a couple months, and then for whatever reason, he decided to run off to Las Vegas and go get married. That was a little impulsive for him. 6 to 9 months into the marriage, he started expressing some concerns about being married to Claudia. He just said he wasn't happy with her and wanted to get away from her. I believe she was taking his money. That's what he believed. So he started talking to me about wanting to get divorced.
There were multiple efforts by the police and others to contact Claudia Herron. They could not connect.
Nobody really knew where she was, and so she was quickly a person of interest. Within a matter of a couple months, we had Claudia located in Brazil. But based on Brazilian law and the Brazilian Constitution, they did not allow for their extradition of citizens to a foreign country, even if they're suspected of committing a crime such as homicide.
So the U.S. government, they just ran into a brick wall. Brazil just didn't want to cooperate. Claudia was just living freely, out in the open. Her belief was Brazil would never extradite her, so she just got away with murder. I was looking at a couple hours, almost every night, corresponding with the embassy. I just really wasn't willing to give up.
That family never let go to the idea that anybody could get away with killing their son, their brother. Our case was in the late 90s. Claudia becomes an American citizen. She signs her documents taking allegiance with the United States of America and denying her loyalty to Brazil. That got us in the door. I said, I don't want her Brazilian ass, I want her American ass.
It was a huge relief to get her back. It was like a big block off my shoulders.
Out of the blue, just mid-flight, she says, "You know, a wife doesn't kill her husband without a good reason." But doesn't get out on the plane in a really tenuous or unique position. We don't know enough about the case to question her, but on the other hand, we have no legal obligation to make her stop talking. And she spent the next couple hours of this flight telling the story that she wanted to have heard.
Now, it's my understanding, right, that why you want to right up there, you get about what happened. Yeah, partial. Okay, great. But I want to start again. I want to go back to March 15th, 2007. You're going to start from the end. Well, you know what? The beginning again. Yeah. I thought backwards. It's going to start backwards. Not fair. I think, in fairness, I think what you had already talked to Tony and I about on the plane, I think that would be a very good place to start. Of course, we got married, but I didn't want to be married. All of a sudden, he was a different person. He scared the life out of me. And treated very, very bad. He was like very aggressive. He beat me. It was torture. He tortured me.
During the interview, Claudia was claiming to be a battered wife, which we found no evidence of.
What she was saying didn't match what the detectives were hearing from any of his friends, family, former girlfriends. In those cases where you have that type of abuse, there is always some type of corroboration. In her case, there was zero.
I was pregnant. I think I was very, very angry. Everyone crazy. He said, I never want I never want children. I want a wife. I said, but I'm 40 years old. I'm not going to get divorced. We won't get divorced.
One of the things that I noticed right away was how rehearsed everything she said seemed to be. There were a lot of statements that she made in the interview room that were just verbatim, word for word what she had said on the plane, even some of her hand movements. It was like she had been practicing this story, and that struck me as really odd.
That means for trauma control, right?
Yeah. I had a plan. Doesn't want to accept this pregnancy. I'm going to kill myself. What good? I went to firing, right? Because I want to shoot. They have to understand about this.
I can't say that I've really been made aware ever of somebody who bought a gun or obtained a gun to commit suicide that went to the shooting range and practice. Here's the thing from the aspect of an interview. Sometimes a lie is more powerful than the truth.
We just had to let her keep talking because the more that she does that, the worse it is for her.
So he got home and I said to him, forget it. I'm not going to have an abortion. And he grabbed me. He threw me on bed and he grabbed my throat. I just defended myself. He was very angry and I he said, that's a very good idea, but just do me a favor. Go to the basement to do that because you're going to splash my paintings. You're going to splash blood all over my paintings.
So basically, she wants you to his paintings are more important than you're pissed.
Yeah.
What happens next?
Well, what happened next is that I got very angry and I got up real fast and shot.
Shot what?
I shot that him and I was lying down.
Come back over here, please.
Yeah, I was like, I got up real fast. And I shot at him. It wasn't too far away. My plan was never, not for 1 single minute, to kill anybody but myself. Swear to God. It was not for a single minute I thought about it.
It was relief. She confessed to shooting him. Now Mike could ask the tough questions.
I guess probably the simplest question that we didn't ask. Instead of killing him,
many years to get a divorce.
I tried, he wouldn't let me.
And what was his story? What was his answer?
I beg you to change. Love belongs to me with the most beautiful in the world. I love you. I'm gonna change.
I was sitting there thinking, how can anybody believe this? Right from the beginning, it felt like theatrics. I think her narcissism overshadowed her intelligence and common sense, and that when she walked out of that room, that she probably felt like a winner.
My personal belief is I think she wasn't real pleased that he had rejected her. He wanted to get divorced from her. I don't think she was used to that. And she was vindictive.
Claudia was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 28 years, because that was actually one of the stipulations to the extradition.
You cannot overestimate the value of interviews and confessions.
And how Billy and I got up real fresh and shocked.
It's instrumental to our convictions. The confession brought out her lies, which were contradicted by the evidence, which in my opinion is the best kind of evidence to have.
I was relieved. I don't take cases personally at all, ever. But this case was so different that I was happy to see some closure for the Harriet family.
Hi, man. This is John Spencer. I say at 324, 327, and 328. I had 3 sentences through. And I found the family for the funeral. My wife was home. Okay. I just got home and the board that I have over my back door has been broken. So somebody forced their way in, and I haven't heard back from my wife. I need an officer here now. Okay. Yeah, what's the wife's name? Desiree Sunburn.
Pistol from that person was later identified as Scott Sumner. And I asked him what was going on. Why didn't you go in? He said, I don't know what's in there. It's a very odd answer to give. I entered the house and I remember walking down the hallway in the first room to my left, and there were bullet casings on the floor. To the left, I could see the body of Desiree Sumter. Whoever shot her wanted her dead. At that point, I went into the house and walked over to Mr. Sumter and told him that there was a deceased woman in the house. We believe it's your wife. And I would tell him, I'm terribly sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Just start cold look at me.
I'll lay him out for
It seemed like it had
dinner.
nothing in.
Some of the
And I told
dinner.
the detectives when they arrived on scene, I think this guy knows something about this. Either he did,
When you're hungry, I can pick one out and I can put it on the plate and make it nice for you. Okay. Yeah.
He was a 31-year-old veteran in the National Guard. He actually worked at the local training center for the military base here in Yakima County. Scott informed us that he had gone down to the Tri-Cities, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Yakima, to attend the funeral. And he attended the funeral Saturday afternoon, and then he called Desiree, said he was going to spend the night down there. He received a text from the alarm company saying something had gone wrong or something tripped the alarm.
Okay, and so why not go in the house and check things out and make sure she's okay?
because I was afraid.
What were you afraid of?
When I saw that back door, I just couldn't decide whether I could deal with what I may or may not see.
it didn't make sense that a husband would stand back and not go into the house to see if his wife's hurt or injured.
You said you were in the military,
Yeah, 13 years.
13 years. Did you get deployed in combat areas?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Around
Iraq.
Iraq? Well, I'm just thinking, you're a big guy. You're 6'4",
Somewhere up there.
6'4", 250. You got a firearm on you. You've been in combat. I mean, you've done some serious that most people will never do. So if anyone's going to be willing to go charging in the house and make sure their wife's okay, it would seem to me that would be you.
In my 30-year career, I have never seen anything like this. For a guy his size, stature, and arm, 45 to wait for police officers to
Right?
check on the wall.
That means he did it.
He's understanding everything we have to
Excuse
say.
me, wait. It's
He's
mommy's
not showing
time.
any emotion, no anger,
Let me say it. Hey, mom knows.
just
Take time
not right.
for you.
You left your
Everybody, this
car
is my space. You're not
at
invaded.
0:30 on Saturday and drove down to the Tri-Cities. And you stayed at your dad's in Kennewick.
No, I actually stayed with a friend, but
What's the friend's name?
oh, her name's Paige. She's a mutual friend.
Was it just a platonic friendship, or did you have an actual relationship with Paige?
You know, I shouldn't go there because it's kind of rude, but, well, Des didn't want me to say anything to anybody, but at one point, her and Paige had a little thing going for a while there, a little experiment.
Okay, so it was Desiree and Paige who had the sexual relationship?
Yeah.
But not you and Paige? Or
We all did.
Sometimes you and Paige too.
Honestly, we all did.
We're in the beginning of this investigation. As we learn more and more, we were finding out there was some type of a love triangle. Paige
Everybody go away.
was a 23-year mistress to Scott Sunford.
Sounds like you and Desiree had a pretty open relationship.
Generally, no, just with her.
There was a special relationship with Paige.
Yeah.
We felt that we were not getting the full story. It's a relationship between a mistress and a gentleman, and that his wife is dead. Okay, how much is he involved, or how much she involved, or are they both involved? We suspected that Paige maybe was giving him an alibi, that he maybe was not there that evening, but his phone was not anywhere near the residence at the time of the homicide. Even though he's still our number one person of interest, it just wasn't connecting him to the crime at the time. A tip came through the local Crime Stoppers telephone network, and the person told us that the name of the shooter was a Marty Grismer, and that he had killed Desiree Sunford. We had not heard that name anywhere in the investigation. We needed to confirm how this person that was calling us knew about this stuff, and it turned out that it was Paige Blade's phone number. If she knew this information, why didn't she call us directly? Things are just not adding up. Paige told us that Marty is a friend of hers, that they work together, and he kind of takes care of her.
Marty was my best friend. Marty and I started dating for a little bit until he found out about Scott, and I told him I couldn't see him anymore. He's the one that got me the house. He bought my car outright with cash. He pays my insurance. He's done my grocery shopping. He's taken very well care of me.
At one point, I believe she told us that he just worshipped the ground she walks on, like he was obsessed with her.
he asked me if I wanted him to take care of this new woman like he did Des. And I asked him what he was talking about. And apparently he decided that if the baby was Scott's like it was supposed to be, then Desiree would cause issues. Oh my God.
We were skeptical about what type of information she was providing. Is she throwing him under the bus, or is she directing it differently for us to follow? The sheriff's office received a phone call from one of the other managers who was cleaning it where Marty had his office and found a bag of gun parts. So our team immediately drove to Moses Lake, recovered the gun parts, and took them directly to the crime lab to have them examined. It was determined that this barrel was on the gun used to kill Desiree Sunford. The bullets that we recovered from her autopsy came from that barrel. We had evidence in our hands that gave us enough to arrest him on the spot, but we'd really like to have a confession.
What's your relationship with Paige?
It's been complicated over the years. I mean, she was the best man in my life. So, I mean, she was my best friend for a while there.
Were you two involved in a sexual relationship at one time?
Not exactly, no. We just figured a little bit on there early on, but I took care of things from financially. Fixing up her house, fixing up the plumbing, finding a place to live, everybody and we stepped on storages for her when things were running out. I tried to be there for her because I wanted a relationship. Like a moth to a flame, I kept going back and trying to help her, even after her mother told me you probably shouldn't be her friend.
Did you ever offer to kill Desiree Sunford for Paige?
No, I got off to kill anyone for anything. It's not in my nature.
Have you ever discussed killing her with Paige?
No.
Did she ever ask you to kill Desiree Sunford?
No.
Paige is saying that you are the one who shot and killed Desiree Sunford. She said that you confessed that to her. And she came in and gave a tape statement to that effect.
Can't believe it. I have a gun barrel that I left there.
A gun barrel? Yeah. Okay. Where it gets even worse for you is this gun barrel that we've been talking about. That's the gun barrel that was in the gun that killed Desiree Sunford. I've already retrieved that gun barrel from Basic American Foods, and I've already had the ballistic analysis done on it. And the slugs that were pulled from Desiree's body came from that gun. After everything you've done for her, after all the money, blood, sweat, tears, and love that you gave to her, and she turned around and killed her.
I know.
An Alford plea is he's not admitting to the crime. He's not confessing to the crime. He's just saying that the state, which would be the prosecution, has enough evidence to get a conviction.
Medical center director
contacted our 24/7 duty phone number and indicated that the facility had reviewed multiple instances going back to January of 2018 and had identified inpatients who had suffered severe low blood sugar, all of which, with the exception of one, had passed away shortly thereafter.
The victims in this case were all elderly males. They all had various health conditions. However, the clinical expectation was that they were all supposed to be discharged. Death did not appear to be imminent. Some of the medical doctors found it unusual, first of all, that there were multiple non-diabetic patients that were dying of these severely low blood sugar. There was no logical reason why their blood sugar plummeted to such dangerously low levels.
Within a day of opening their investigation, they contacted the local FBI office, and we got involved.
Through time cards, work schedules, and other records, that helped narrow down the possible list of subjects or suspects that could be involved in the case.
It quickly became apparent there were a total of 4 individuals at the hospital out of 1,200 employees who were there at each of the dates for these events.
Rita Mays, who was an uncertified nursing assistant who worked in the medical surgical unit they referred to as Ward 3A. She was responsible for taking the vitals of patients, intake and outtake, as well as taking glucometer or finger stick readings of the blood sugar levels of patients.
It is 8:17 p.m. Special interpilium here with Miss.
Nurses in the initial interview, you really just want her to do as much talking as possible so they go back later and impeach the information that she gave us.
Our team was directly across the hall to just listen in. We were putting the pieces together to see what we could make of what she had to say.
Are you ever administer insulin to patients?
No.
Not at all.
No. The aides are not to give any type of medicine.
And what about the med room? Do you go to the med room where they keep the medications?
The only time I've gone in there is when I've been with a nurse.
She denied being in the medication room, which we knew was contradictory with what witnesses told us previously. And what's important there is that the insulin was stored in the medication room.
Some of Rita Mays' coworkers on 3A had various accounts that stuck out to us as far as red flags. She more or less did not act normal when compared to the rest of her coworkers. There were some instances where she held patients' hands while crying bedside with them as well too, which a lot of the staff indicated to us was abnormal.
I'm not going to find that what you tell me, I'm not going to find that part of it's not true or all of it's not true.
Yes, sir. I will swear. I will swear to it.
And
I will swear to it. If we had to go to court, I would swear to it.
Would you be able to take a polygraph concerning this and pass it?
I will not take the polygraph.
Why not?
Why not?
I'm asking.
Because I have a 20 ACL and I have constant pain and I wouldn't pass it.
Okay. The pain would make you not pass it.
We learned that Rita May's husband had been in jail during the times in which the murders took place. Rita Mays' husband would call her almost every morning after her overnight shift ended.
Oh, yeah.
During some of these calls with her husband, Rita indicated her struggles with her interactions with these patients.
At 4 o'clock in the morning, I had to take over sitting one of the one-on-ones, and the one I was sitting with, I wanted to freaking strangle. I couldn't leave him in bed. They had given him Haldol, and that didn't work, so they gave him 2 shots of Haldol, and he still was wound up.
When she returned the following shift after having placed that call and made those comments, the same patient suffered low blood sugars again, indicative of this patient being administered insulin on 2 different occasions.
We had a special agent from the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit come out.
And for Special Agent Carrie Robbins to participate and to conduct the interview.
We had been prepping her for interviewing through.
I understand. It is. Yeah, and I've heard that. And I heard that immigration person doesn't work.
The interviewer does pay compliments to Mays that would really allow Mays to agree with her and engage her in talking. It builds a little bit of rapport, but it also makes Rita feel that she has the power in the conversation.
I said no. What did I do with my phone? Papa, stop. I keep losing that phone.
That's basically taking life. And that's not. That's not a good thing. Whatever. What happened? Are you saying I did something? Is that what you're trying to say? Because I didn't do anything. That's a change who you are. Then you're still that person. I didn't even do anything. There's a lot of people saying, after his friend.
You can see she's hunched her shoulders and drawn her arms across her body as pretty defensive. So to me, I think she was panicking a little bit.
Right after the interview, there was a major payoff because Within a few hours of that end of the second interview, she actually buys a book called I'm Dead Now What, indicating that she's having potentially some suicidal thoughts. Why? Because she's just been told she is the prime suspect in all of these cases. It almost gave us more fuel to figure this out. We're going to get to the bottom of this. Between the second interview in August of 2018 and October of 2019, the bulk of the investigative work was complete during that time period. The investigation
No, give me my space.
Browsing activity, review of hundreds of hours, recorded review of other electronic media, electronic evidence. What we learned at that point in the investigation was that Rita would talk with other staff members on Facebook Messenger, and they would, in real time, be discussing patients and what was going on the ward. And Rita was referring to some of our victims. What happened to this patient who was miserable, and what about this patient? So she was following up to see, essentially, did they really do that?
It's so beautiful.
Interviews were important. I did not obtain a confession. There was no eyewitness, no surveillance camera footage, no murder weapon, no DNA, no fingerprint. Therefore, the culmination of the interviews strengthened the investigation. Although we did not get the verbal answers and the confessions that we were looking for, just to be able to tap into the mindset of Rita was just as important.
I need her, man. Oh my God. No, baby. Oh my gosh, please.
Ryan Lamp was uncontrollably emotional, screaming, yelling, crying, just wailing. They determined that for safety's sake, he needed to be handcuffed and removed from the scene.
Please, please. I just came home.
Oh, this is police camp. Oh, I love this show.
As the police entered the unit, they could see blood on the doorstep and on the landing. They said that the apartment was in disarray. It appeared as if there had been some sort of altercation.
I know
there was blood on the bed, blood on the floor. You could see footmarks and fingerprints on the linoleum. Once they got into the bathroom, they found Ryan Nixon in the bathtub in a semi-seated position with the water running. I think he was only clothed in his underwear. Mr. Lee had reported that Mr. Nixon had holes in. We later learned that it was really the result of being stabbed with a pair of scissors that we found in the residence. Ultimately, it was determined that Ryan Nixon was deceased.
Oh, he has a boyfriend. Okay. They're bringing him in, the boyfriend in. Oh, is he the one that's dead? Oh, Lord. Mm-mm. Okay, see, I don't know who did this. I really wasn't looking. And it's always I'm doing something else.
I approached it from an informational standpoint and asked him, what can you tell us about the situation? Do you know who did this? So, Ryan, I know that you told the other officers kind of what took place, but I'm sorry I wasn't there for that. Can you tell me from start to finish? As just people that come in and photo of the scene, crack the nose or something, and go in, he's laying right on the kitchen. There's a wall.
That's enough now. Okay? Now you're disturbing my pillows, my decor. You got all over there to play. Okay. Take that.
Mr. Lamb said that they didn't have a functioning cell phone, so his first thought was to run to a local gas station, which is quite a distance away.
Too big to be doing that anyway.
Half a mile or 3/4 of a mile.
And you're crashing in on Lulu.
No,
No, I'm not calling for your affection right now, okay? Thank you very much. But no, this is my space. I'm still in my space. Appa, stop being a bully. Appa, stop being a bully.
At least one of the patrol officers that had interaction with Lamb and myself recognized that there were some marks on his chest and abdomen. The marks to me look like a 4-pronged fork. I believe one of the patrol officers asked him about that, and initially he said it's not relevant. He said it's a rash. There were a couple of them that had fresh blood as a result of the poke marks, which told me that they were fairly recent. So it was not normal, in my opinion, and I wanted to know why. What's that from? It looks like a fork. Yeah. What's that from? Okay. So that's like put belts around each other's necks.
I never heard of that one. Put belts around each other's neck. I mean, wow. This is an interrogation. Wait, is it? No, this is the body cam. Police body cam. So it's up there. Oh.
One of the neighbors upstairs to Nixon's apartment told me she heard two people arguing. One of the voices said, "You stabbed me in the chest." The other voice said, "Well, you stabbed me with a fork." Obviously, that was significant to me because Lamb had fork marks on his chest and abdomen, and Nixon had been stabbed in the chest with a pair of scissors. Learning that information as well as other things that I had gleaned from the interview, I was fairly confident that Lamb had played a role in Mr. Nixon's death. Here's where we're at with this. I just talked with the county attorney's office, and based on the information I have, we're going to be charging you with deliberate homicide. Oh my God. Yeah.
Whoa. Whoa.
Surprise?
Whoa.
Huh?
No.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
I think that Mr. Lamb's reaction,
Yes, fourth
he was
night.
legitimately shocked.
Puncture
I
wound.
think that he thought
Yeah,
he
the
could
guy
throw up
had
some
gotten
smoke
the
mirrors
scissor. Yang,
and
yang,
he'd
yang,
be
yang,
walking
yang.
out of the back door of the police department that day. And that didn't happen.
And now he's surprised.
I'm begging you here, please explain to me what happened. So I have a clear picture, you know, of what took place. You know, I mean, otherwise I gotta go based on the facts that I have.
Understood. Oh, yeah. That's all too hard. His head was oh,
So how did the blood get up by the front door? How did that happen?
he got up, like looking for me. I didn't leave him in the shower. I didn't leave him anywhere near the bathroom. Like it was right there by the closet. It was just like so much blood, and I started thinking really like, oh, back his head right there. And I thought he was like beating his head, or maybe I poked him in the neck or something.
When he confessed to killing Mr. Nixon, it was somewhat of a relief for him.
I was not triggering me against anything. Like, I really, this is such like an accident. Oh, it's so bad. Oh my god.
Mr. Lamb used the scissors on Nixon, and he said he didn't intend to harm him as bad as he did, or certainly not kill him. Based on the information that I had learned through the investigation, had Brian Lamb called for help sooner, there was a possibility that Brian Nixon could have been saved.
Okay, that was good.